Once upon a time, in a lush green meadow filled with juicy grass, lived a playful goat named Pip, and a grumpy but secretly kind buffalo named Bo. Pip was a whirlwind of energy, always bouncing and leaping, while Bo preferred a slow, steady pace, munching on grass and sighing contentedly. They were an unlikely pair, but somehow they were the best of friends. One sunny afternoon, Pip, brimming with mischief, decided to play a game of hide and seek with Bo. "Bo," he bleated excitedly, "let's play hide and seek. You hide first." Bo, initially resistant to the idea of strenuous activity, grumbled a reluctant agreement. He lumbered behind a large oak tree, his massive body almost completely hidden by its thick trunk. He peeked out with one eye, a small, amused smile playing on his lips. Pip, on the other hand, took his hiding strategy very seriously. He leaped onto a hay bale. Then, realizing it wasn't hidden enough, he scrambled into a dense bush only to pop his head out again, giggling. Finally, he decided to hide behind a small, wobbly fence, his little horns barely peeking over the top. He thought he was incredibly clever. Bo, after a short while, had had enough of waiting. He let out a loud "moo," which startled a flock of birds into flight. He lumbered out from behind the oak tree, expecting to find Pip easily. However, despite his best efforts, he could not find the clever goat. Bo searched high and low. He looked under bushes, behind trees, and even in the farmer's watering trough. Much to the farmer's surprise, Pip, meanwhile, was stifling laughter behind the wobbly fence, his body shaking with amusement at Bo's comical search. Finally, with a triumphant "moo," Bo spotted Pip's horns poking out. Pip burst out laughing, his little legs kicking with glee. Bo, though initially annoyed by the game, found himself chuckling too. It was the best game of hide and seek they'd ever played. They continued playing until the sun began to set, painting the sky in vibrant oranges and purples. That night, as Pip snuggled next to Bo, both exhausted but happy, they agreed that even grumpy buffaloes could have a lot of fun, especially when playing hide and seek with a mischievous goat like Pip. Their friendship, strengthened by a game of hide and seek, proved that sometimes the most unexpected friendships are the most rewarding, and that even the grumpiest among us can be won over by a little bit of playful fun. Once upon a time, deep within a cozy, sun-dappled garden, lived a tiny worm named Wiggles. Wiggles wasn't like the other worms. While they burrowed happily in the dark earth, Wiggles loved to whisper secrets to the flowers. He'd tell the roses about the juicy raindrops, the sunflowers about the warm sunshine, and the daisies about the playful bumblebees. One day, a shiny click-clack beetle named Buzz landed near Wiggles' favorite daisy. Buzz, with his hard shell and clicking legs, looked very different from the quiet worm. He was loud and boasted about his adventures flying high above the garden. Wiggles, usually so chatty, felt shy. He stayed hidden under a leaf, peeking out at the boastful beetle. Buzz, after showing off his flying skills, noticed Wiggles. "Why are you hiding, little worm?" he asked, his voice a loud click. Wiggles, surprised, peeked out further. I'm shy," he whispered. Buzz, used to the admiration of other insects, was confused. He'd never met anyone as quiet as Wiggles. He sat down near the daisy, his clicking slowing to a gentle hum. He started telling Wiggles about the wonderful smells he'd encountered during his flights. The sweet scent of honeysuckle and the earthy smell of freshly tilled soil. Wiggles, fascinated, began to share his own experiences. He described the cool, damp feeling of the earth, the taste of sweet roots, and the comforting darkness of his burrow. He even whispered a secret about a hidden patch of plump, juicy berries. Buzz listened intently, his initial boastfulness replaced with genuine interest. He discovered that Wiggles' quiet world was just as exciting and full of wonders as his own high-flying adventures. He learned that even the smallest, quietest creatures had amazing stories to tell. As the sun began to set, Buzz and Wiggles, the whispering worm and the click-clack beetle, became the unlikeliest of friends. They learned that being different wasn't a bad thing, and that friendship could blossom in the most unexpected places. They promised to share their adventures and secrets every day, proving that even the quietest whispers can be heard, and the loudest clicks can find peace in gentle company. And that, my friends, is a very beautiful thing. Once upon a time, in a sunny meadow beside a whispering forest, lived a cheeky squirrel named Pip and a graceful zebra named Zola. Pip was small and quick, with fur the color of burnt caramel. Zola, on the other hand, was tall and elegant, her stripes a striking black and white against the green grass. They were the unlikeliest of friends. Their friendship began unexpectedly. Pip, in his usual flurry of activity, accidentally dropped his favorite acorn, a perfectly plump, shiny one, right into Zola's carefully manicured mane. Zola, instead of being annoyed, gently nudged the acorn back to Pip with her nose. Pip, surprised by her kindness, chattered a happy thank you. This small act sparked an unusual bond. Their differences were initially a source of amusement. Pip loved scrambling up trees, his tiny claws finding purchase on the roughest bark. Zola, with her long legs, preferred galloping across the open meadow. Pip would chatter excitedly about the juicy berries high in the branches, while Zola would describe the cool breeze as she ran. Yet, they found common ground in their shared love for the meadow. One day, a fierce storm rolled in. The wind howled and rain lashed down. Pip, usually so fearless, was scared. He couldn't find shelter in the swaying trees. He saw Zola, standing calmly under a large oak tree, her stripes almost invisible in the downpour. He scurried towards her, shivering. Zola, without hesitation, sheltered Pip under her large body, protecting him from the worst of the storm. Their differences didn't matter during that storm. What mattered was their friendship, their shared concern for each other's well-being. They huddled together, comforted by each other's presence, until the storm finally passed. The next morning, the sun shone brightly on the glistening meadow. Pip and Zola emerged, a little wet but very happy. Their friendship, forged in a storm, was stronger than ever. They continued their adventures, learning from each other and appreciating their unique qualities. Pip learned the beauty of a graceful run, and Zola discovered the joy of climbing the tallest tree. Their story reminded everyone that true friendship blossoms not in similarities, but in shared kindness and mutual respect. No matter how different you may seem, it's a friendship that proves that even a small squirrel and a tall zebra can be the best of friends. The Deer and the Pig. A tale of unexpected friendship. Once upon a time, in a lush green forest, lived a graceful deer named Dahlia and a playful pig named Pip. Dahlia, with her elegant antlers and gentle nature, spent her days grazing peacefully. Pip, round and rosy, loved to roll in the mud and snuffle for tasty roots. They seemed completely different, like sunshine and rain, but their paths were about to cross in a surprising way. One scorching summer day, a terrible wildfire swept through the forest. Dahlia, nimble and fast, easily escaped the flames. However, Pip, slower and less agile, was trapped. The smoke filled the air, and Pip's little oinks turned into terrified squeals. Dahlia, hearing his cries, paused. She could have run to safety, but something in Pip's desperate sounds touched her heart. This is where their story takes a beautiful turn. Ignoring her own safety, Dahlia bravely raced back into the burning forest. She found Pip huddled under a burning bush, terrified and choked with smoke. Using her strong antlers, she gently nudged the bush away, creating a small space for Pip to escape. Pip, coughing and sputtering, followed Dahlia out of the danger zone, safe at last. Pip looked at Dahlia with gratitude in his eyes. He had never expected such kindness from a creature so different from himself. From that day forward, an unusual friendship blossomed. Dahlia and Pip became the best of friends, showing everyone that kindness knows no boundaries. Regardless of how different we might seem, they played together, grazed together, and even shared mud baths, much to Dahlia's amused tolerance. The story of Dahlia and Pip reminds us that friendship can be found in the most unexpected places. It teaches us that being different isn't a barrier to kindness and understanding. Even a graceful deer and a playful pig, seemingly worlds apart, can find common ground and build a beautiful friendship based on mutual respect and selfless love. So, the next time you see someone different from you, remember Dahlia and Pip and be open to the possibility of an amazing, unexpected friendship. Remember, even sunshine and rain can create a beautiful rainbow together. Imagine a sunny Australian outback. A bouncy kangaroo, Kanga, loved hopping across the plains, her pouch swinging gently. Far away, in a lush jungle, lived a clever chimpanzee named Chimp. Chimp loved swinging from trees, solving puzzles, and eating juicy mangoes. They seemed worlds apart, but their paths were about to cross in a surprising way. One day, a strong wind swept a small wooden box across the outback. It landed right in front of Kanga. Curious, she nudged it open with her nose. Inside were colorful building blocks, unlike anything she'd ever seen. Kanga tried to stack them, but they kept tumbling down. She felt frustrated. She needed help. Meanwhile, Chimp was bored. He'd solved all the puzzles in his jungle. He felt a sudden urge to explore. Following the wind's trail, he discovered a path leading to the outback. That's where he spotted Kanga, hopping around a pile of colorful blocks. Chimp, known for his problem-solving skills, immediately understood the challenge. He carefully showed Kanga how to build a tall tower, explaining the importance of balance and strong foundations. Kanga watched, amazed by Chimp's quick thinking and clever hands. She helped by bringing him fresh leaves to wipe his brow, a thoughtful gesture Chimp appreciated. They spent the afternoon together, building incredible structures, laughing and sharing stories. Kanga told Chimp about the vast outback, the kangaroos' hopping contests, and the delicious red dirt ants. Chimp, in return, spoke of his jungle adventures, the mischievous monkeys, and the sweet mangoes that hung high in the trees. They discovered that despite their differences, one hopping, the other swinging, they had so much in common: a love of fun and a desire to learn and play together. As the sun set, painting the sky in vibrant hues, Kanga and Chimp knew they had formed an unusual but wonderful friendship. They promised to visit each other often, bridging the distance between the outback and the jungle, proving that friends can be found in the most unexpected places. Their story reminds us that friendship knows no boundaries, and that differences can actually make a friendship even richer and more exciting. The Cockroach and the Louse. A tiny tale of big friendship. Once upon a time, in a cozy little crack behind the old cupboard, lived a cockroach named Kiki and a louse named Lou. Kiki was big and brown, with long, spiky legs. Lou was tiny and grey, almost invisible to the human eye. They were an unlikely pair, a giant and a mite, but they were the best of friends. Kiki, being larger, had a knack for finding the tastiest crumbs. He'd share them generously with Lou, who, in return, would use his tiny claws to clean Kiki's antennae, a service Kiki greatly appreciated. This sharing wasn't just about food, it was about friendship. Kiki, with his strong legs, could easily escape the broom's sweep, while Lou, being so small, could hide in places Kiki couldn't even reach. They protected each other, their differences becoming their strengths. One day, a giant human hand appeared, threatening to disrupt their peaceful existence. Kiki, feeling the tremor, immediately scurried for cover. He called out to Lou, whose tiny voice barely reached him. "Lou, quick, hide!" Lou, despite being scared, remembered their pact. He squeezed himself into a microscopic crevice, completely out of sight. Kiki, his heart pounding like a tiny drum, managed to avoid being swept away. After the danger passed, he found Lou, safe and sound. They hugged, as much as a cockroach and a louse can hug, and realized how lucky they were to have each other. The experience taught them something important. Even though they were different, their friendship made them stronger. Kiki learned that even a tiny friend can be incredibly helpful. And Lou learned that even the biggest scares are easier to face with a friend by your side. Their tiny world, the crack behind the cupboard, became a safe haven, all thanks to their remarkable friendship. The story of Kiki and Lou reminds us that true friendship isn't about size or appearance. It's about kindness, sharing, and mutual support. It's about being there for each other, no matter what. So, next time you see a tiny creature, remember Kiki and Lou, and maybe, just maybe, you'll see a friend where you least expect it.